I decided to start a book to use up all my scraps because I need to get rid of them. I have millions, it feels like. So I got myself my little 3-ring binder that I had sitting around in my craft room and pulled out all of my scraps that would fit in here or close to it, and I cut a few things down that I wanted to use. And I'm going to decorate this whole thing. I've already started decorating with scraps and things that I just have laying around that I want to use up. So follow along with me on this series of my scrappy junk journal project. Okay, I pulled out some of my favorite pages I've made so far to give you a little sneak peek of what I'm talking about. So this was one of my scraps, this blue page, and then this graph paper. As a matter of fact, it was like, you can see a little bit. It goes down and then it was cut over and then down some more and cut over, and so just a scrappy piece of paper. I did reinforce it with this, which this is a little piece of scrap too. That way when it goes in the 3-ring binder, it's a little more sturdy and it's not going to fall out. So this was one. I just had all 3 stickers went together in something I had, but it's been sitting around for a while, so popped them on there and used it to make this one. And then here we go. This actual, well, I have these 3 tags. They were on one sheet of paper. They've been sitting around my craft room for a while, and they're so cute, and I wanted to put them in something, so I put them in this. And the fold out is actually a scrap piece of paper. I was actually using it to stamp like ghost, you know how when you clean your stamps off, that on. So, and then this side, as you can tell, a little bit back there, which until I pointed out, you probably didn't notice, that's where I was using, like when I ink stuff, and it kind of leaves like a stencil. That's what that is. So I just glued these on here, inked the edge up. This, well, the original part of this, which I don't really care for this side very much, but this is actually a packaging, this wood background. It was a packaging for something. Now the back of it had like the information, UPC code, stuff like that. So I covered it with a different piece of paper. But anyways, and then I used some washi here. Remember I told you it's getting rid of some washi because we all need to learn how to use that up. And here's some doilies I had laying around. That's also what I used here. I had a whole stack of them, so I thought I would use some up. So that is some more ways to use up my scraps. This right here. This was part of a larger piece that I had painted and did some, I don't remember if it was watercolor or what back there, but that was a piece of scrap. This is supposed to be a rub-on, but it didn't work, so I just glued it to some backing so you could see it, and then glued it on here. And stickers that I have a million of because I got them on Amazon, like a whole pack. And then here, a scrap piece of paper. Well, actually, this whole thing is scrap too. This was a piece of scrap paper. This is a piece of scrap paper I just had laying around. This is a piece of scrap paper I put a rub-on. This rub-on actually worked for the title. So all these scrappy papers. Now, I will say this was patterned, and then on the back usually it's white, but I put ink because I have like a million things of ink. And then you can see when you spritz the water on it, it kind of like leaves like a pattern. And you can put, like I have different colors, so I put a little dark, a little light, so it gave it some variation, and then threw the water on there, and then it looks like a designed background. So there's a bunch of scraps there. Okay, this right here was a section of 12 by 12 paper. Again, scrap. This right here, cardstock, scrap. This right here, cardstock, scrap, scrap. This is something I cut out from scrap paper that I had painted on. A punch one of my punches. I don't know if I showed you guys this. I have this punch and it punches these things out. And then when you fold them in half, you glue them and they turn into tags. And I love them. And that's what this is. Again, I use, when I have little strips of paper that are about that big, I just take and I punch a bunch of tabs from my hole punch. And that's what that is. And the same thing with here. This is a little scrap. This is a scrap. I cut it in half. All these are scraps. This is some paper I just wasn't using. It has all the states and stuff like that. And I wanted to actually find a reason to use it. So I'm from Kansas. Well, not originally, but when I met my boyfriend 2 years ago, I lived in Kansas. He lived in Tennessee. So this is my little I love you thing to him. This is a book page out of a book that I dearly love, all the painty backgrounds. So I use those for backgrounds. And then on this side, this was a piece of scrap paper. These are all the same thing. This right here, these are printables. These are printables that I had sitting around because I thought they were cute, and I printed them off and I never did anything with them. And they were staring me in the face, so I decided to cut them out and make some cute stuff. And this story here is, this is my boyfriend. He's lonely. He wants somebody to be my Valentine. And here's me. I'm lonely. And it says, love me. And also this was a scrap right here, this pink thing. Then we found each other. Here's some more scraps. And here we are together on a swing. So this is a scrap too, right here. This actually, see that circle cut out? I had cut a circle for some reason out of it, and then I kept the offcut. So then I just kind of made like a cute little swirly outside, so I could make like a little picture frame out of it basically. And I put this, which normally was a square, one of these squares, underneath, so it looked like a little picture frame, which now that I looked at it, I probably should have like decorated the outside circle a little bit, but that's okay. And here's a little piece of scrap paper, and here's 2 pieces of washi tape. This is like hearts with silvery glitters, and this is white with gold, like a rose gold. Anyways, that's how I used some more scraps up here. So this is how I use up my scraps. I just make cute stuff, and it's silly and it's fun, and I think you'll enjoy it. So have fun with me. Make some scrappy books with me.